Something felt off. The second Diane Mercer set foot on our porch, off in that deep pit of your stomach way, like when a stranger's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes, and you just know trouble's about to walk in and sit down for coffee. My wife Rachel squared her shoulders while I stood half hidden behind the screen door phone, rolling, my heart rattling like a loose bolt, because man, this woman had the tone of authority but absolutely none of the answers. You ever have one of those moments where someone's holding official papers, waving them around like magic wands? But if you ask the simplest question, they fumble. That was Diane. She's the HOA president. At least that's what she called herself. But the whole act was off-rehearsed, desperate. The way she gripped her stack of copy paper, the way she barked about emergency lake inspections, it was like she'd watched too many cop shows and decided she was the law. Let me back up a sec. Saturday morning, blue sky, coffee brewing, and out of nowhere there's Diane, all business, talking about safety violations and how she needed to get inside our cabin like she had a badge in her purse. Rachel, who spent 3 years sorting legit property docs for the county, just stared her down. You're not coming inside. Not without a warrant. She was solid, unmoved, the kind of calm that says, try me. Diane stammered, tried her pitch again, waving papers with typos and off-brand seals. I swear, even from a distance, you could see the ink running like a scared rabbit. Our cabin isn't some fly-by-night shanty. It's been standing proud on that lake for 15 years, every nail and board blessed by the county. Diane kept poking, calling our legal doc a hazard, pointing out imaginary violations, her hands shaking more every time Rachel mentioned property records. You could feel it. She was on the edge, afraid of something, maybe us, maybe herself. And then, like a bad dream turning worse, Diane tries to push past. Rachel actually tries to wedge herself into our home. Rachel plants herself firm, bouncer style, right in the doorway. That's when I stepped outside, shaky but determined, telling Diane flat out to leave. She didn't. Instead, she doubled down, shouting that our fake deed wasn't worth the paper it was printed on, which would have been hilarious if it wasn't so crazy she's holding the forgeries. We've got the legit stuff, but she acts like she's starring in her own little Law and Order episode. Diane storms off, muttering threats about community standards, clutching those forged papers like they're sacred scrolls. Rachel looks at me, shakes her head. She's unhinged. And I think it's just starting. I felt it too. That weird low-level dread. You know what I mean? Monday. Diane's war goes public orange unsafe structure. Notices plastered all over our front door, the kind that make neighbors pause and gawk. The community app lights up her posts everywhere, dangerous modifications, family at risk, all aimed at us. Photos of our Doc Dyer warnings about the lake. The comments explode suddenly. The whole neighborhood's at war, half backing Diane's paranoia, half starting to wonder why the HOA is so obsessed with our little cabin. That afternoon it gets weirder. Diane shows up again, this time with a tape measure clipboard and a face like she's the county sheriff. She's walking the yard, measuring, snapping photos, ignoring my demand to leave. Rachel calls the real county office. They confirm what we already knew. No inspection, no request, no Diane Mercer on their books. The clerk even asks if we want to file a complaint for impersonating an official. So we push back online, posting proof of our ownership. But the posts get flagged and buried while Diane stay pinned, her supporters multiplying like weeds. The app feels rigged. Neighbors start whispering. One Owen Parker, who was on our side, suddenly flips after a private talk with Diane. He's spooked, stops answering calls. Later, there's an anonymous note wedged in our door, 3 blurry words. Failure to appear. Who sent it? Someone trying to help or set us up. Rachel's nerves are frayed. Mine aren't much better. What if Diane's running from something bigger? Her whole energy, panic, desperation didn't just scream HOA busybody. It felt criminal. The next day, Diane returns, but she's got backup, 2 HOA board members, and to my shock, Owen tagging along like he's part of an official posse. They bring a ladder, tools, the works. Diane's directing them, climbing onto our deck, poking at our walls, declaring emergency inspection under HOA powers. One board member looks sick, the other keeps checking her phone like she's waiting for permission to bail. I nearly caved, thought maybe we should let them do their sham inspection and end the circus, but Rachel stands her ground, says if we give in now, it'll never stop. She's right, of course. Our little spat plays out in front of everyone. It's humiliating, but it's real, and it finally snaps some people awake. When I mention the county confirmed no inspection, Owen goes pale, backs away like he's seen a ghost. That night I dig. Turns out Diane Mercer used to be Diane Mills in another state, left town after a financial scandal involving, you guessed it, fake HOA fees. Everything clicks, the urgency, the fake docs, the threats. Diane's no rookie. She's running the same scam, new place. Next morning, Officer Martinez shows up thanks to one of Diane's calls, not ours. Diane unloads her act, waving her fake paperwork. The cop listens, takes notes, looks bored until Rachel and I hand him our deed show the forgeries. Rachel explains the seals. The stamps points out the bad spelling. Officer Martinez's eyebrows go up. He starts asking Diane questions, real ones. Her answers get shakier. Her eyes dart to her car. Then twist number 2. Martinez runs her ID, comes back voice all business. Ms. Mercer, you have an active warrant for fraud out of state. You're under arrest for failure to appear, forgery, and impersonation. The look on Diane's face is pure shock, like she can't believe the game's finally over. Neighbors gather, filming. Word spreads like wildfire. Owen is crushed. Board members look ready to crawl under the table. Rachel cracks a joke about the inspection being finally done, and for the first time in a week, I laugh for real. When they search Diane's car, they find notebooks, lists of neighbor names, dollar amounts, plans to hit everyone with emergency fees. She'd been using our cabin as her test run before expanding the scam community-wide. If we'd caved, she'd have bankrupted families up and down the lake. Community meeting that night is pure chaos. People apologize, resign from the board. Some still refuse to believe what's happened, demand to see our deed, mumble about safety. Federal agents show up, take over. Turns out Diane had partners, 2 board members feeding her info, planning the scam. When Diane's in federal court, she spills everything, how the scam was supposed to work, how they'd target us first. Then every other lakefront owner, seeing those folks, people I'd waved to at the mailbox, let out in cuffs, is surreal. It all unravels. Diane gets 4 years in federal prison. Her accomplices 2 years each. The money they stole pays for new playgrounds, landscaping, even upgrades to the community center. The neighborhood app now needs triple verification for any official announcement. Owen, who was tricked but honest, steps up as the new president, full transparency, every expense posted for all to see. And the best part, our annual lake day turns into a real celebration, kids swimming, parents laughing. The only inspection notices are our welcome signs. Looking back, I get why some folks wanted to sweep it under the rug. Nobody likes to admit they got played. But honesty heals faster than denial. If you're still with me, tell me, would you have stood up or would you have let the fake inspection happen? Drop your thoughts below. In the end, I learned the loudest voice isn't always right, and not every knock at the door means you have to answer. Stay sharp. Neighbors, sometimes protecting your home means trusting your gut and holding the line even when it feels like the whole world's gone mad.